Yo, what's good, everybody? And thank you for tuning in to another Tyler Perry SISTAS review. If this is your first time coming to my channel, welcome. If you are a returning family member and you already know what it is, be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. Tell somebody to tell somebody if you choose to. If not, just sit back and relax while we get into this somewhat messy thing. Now, I wanted to talk about this particular topic because it's just been interesting. The conversations I've had via social media. And if you looked at the title of the thumbnail, it says, "Was Fatima being pushed, taking things too far?" I posed this question because of the many discussions I've had through Instagram, Facebook, pretty much. Majority of the people who I have been engaging with feel that Fatima being pushed was kind of taking things a little too far. And on the other hand, there are a group of people who feel that Fatima got what she so rightfully deserved. If you watched Our Sister's Keeper with me and Erica Vane last Wednesday night, right after the episode, then you kind of know where I land on this topic. Now, before I begin expressing my 2 cents, let me say that I do not condone men putting their hands on women. Neither do I condone women putting their hands on men. You will hear me state countless of times within my videos, don't put your hand on nobody's child. And when I say child, I'm speaking of adults. We may not be children, but we are all somebody's child. And that's what I mean when I make that statement. Now that I got that out the way, Fatima received the exact energy in which she was given. Okay. Let's just talk about, Fatima's excursions on last Wednesday night episode. She goes to work and she sees Andy, who is upset and crying and just emotional about the situation with Gary. Fatima takes it upon herself to tell Andy that Gary will not get away with this and that she'll handle it. I do want to go on record because we all saw the episode. None of this is Andy's fault. She did not ask Fatima to step in. She did not ask Fatima to intervene. Andy is just being Andy. And we all know that Fatima intentionally, I'm going to say intentionally, places herself in places and situations that honestly do not include her. Y'all know I don't like taking up for Andy and Danny. I just don't. But in this case, I have to, because a lot of people have been giving Andy hell across social media. It's her fault that Fatima did it. No, it's not. She didn't ask that woman to do anything. This is all Fatima's doing. After Fatima leaves her office, we see her up here at Hayden's house. And I was like, why, of all places, why is she there? I was a little lost, but we saw that she was there to speak to Tamara because she wanted to know what Tamara knew that was going on with Gary and Hayden as it pertained to Andy. And I was just like, what information you think you going to get, Fatima? I was so lost on this scene, y'all. And I'll just break it down as why I was lost even the more. Now, one thing I do like about Tamara is not a pushover. And she will say whatever she has to say to Fatima and anyone else. Now, Tamara did reveal, not outright, but Fatima is smart. She read between the lines that basically Tamara is boning Gary. Okay? Once Fatima clocked this tea, she was like, I appreciate you, sis. You've told me everything that I need to know. And I'm like, what is that information going to do for you? I didn't really even have these thoughts until I really sat and thought about the episode. That entire scene just didn't make sense. Maybe they're going to bring it together on the season finale, but it just did not make sense to me because none of this has anything to do with Fatima trying to intervene when it comes to Gary. Knowing information that Tamara may know does what? I'm still lost about that. What did that scene prove? To know that Tamara is having sex with Gary does what? So writers, I'm gonna need y'all to get it together, like my girl 702 said, because something is not adding up with this particular scene to me. And even as Fatima walks out, she makes a little, snide remark about Tamara and where she's living, how she's living, and told her that she expected more from her. And I'm like, well, wait a minute, pause now. Where's your house? And who you living with? Zachary Taylor in that 1-bedroom duplex? I wish Tamara knew Zach personally, because I so wish she would have said, I hear you're engaged to Zach. I wish better for you, sis. I would have wished she could say something like that, because I'm not going to get ahead of myself. I'm going to just, okay, let's continue with the excursions that Fatima had last Wednesday night. So after she leaves Tamara and Hayden's house, Fatima goes to Gary's office. She's standing outside of his office. She approaches him with an aggressive energy, basically letting him know that she was not playing with him. Gary returned the sentiment like he always returns anytime Fatima attempts to threaten him. Now, at this moment, Gary attempts to walk away, I believe, twice. And twice, Fatima grabbed his arm and told him that she wasn't done talking to him and not to walk away from her. I said, babe, okay, let's keep going. Now, it was at that time that Gary's bodyguard / protection, or whatever you want to call this little Caucasian man, he comes over and he pushes Fatima to the ground. Now, we could hear Gary telling him to either take her purse, accommodate her purse, or what have you, because Gary knows that Fatima carries not only a firearm, but she has a knife and whatever else she may have in her little Barney bag, okay? Oh, that cracked me up. But anyway, now it baffles me that Fatima went to go see Gary and did not have anything on her. However, in the big scheme of things, we know that this was all a setup for her to be in a position to contact Madam. So going back to the original question, was Fatima being pushed to the ground taking things too far? And honestly, I do not believe it was. As I stated earlier in the video and in previous videos that I made, that this was a setup in order for Madam to come into the picture. I also hope that this was a setup for the writers to actually have Fatima doing something within the show. And what I mean by that is, I have made this statement that I'm about to make several times, and I have received pushback from some fans, which is fine because y'all know I don't really care about that. Fatima is a weak character. Yes, I said it. Fatima is a weak character, even though she is positioned as a woman of strength. And in my opinion, what makes her a weak character is that there is absolutely nothing that Fatima has going on outside of the people she's connected to. We constantly see her trying to fix Andy's life. She is constantly and consistently fixing Zach's life and cleaning up all of his messes. Now, when we were introduced with the storyline of Fatima making a bad grade in law school, I was actually happy about that. Because I felt as if, well, let me correct that. Not that I was happy because she had a failing grade. I was happy because I felt like we were actually going to go somewhere. And we were actually going to dive into something that was solely about her. And they hit on that thing one good time and backed up off of it, never to return to it again. Now, I just happen to be a viewer that is tired of the narrative that Fatima can beat up everyone. Man, woman, and or beast. Because in what world? I also had to bring this up to a woman who I was having a debate with, because she had such an energy about her as if I wrote the episode. I'm like, why are you coming at me? Yeah, we may not agree, but I'm going to need you to chill. I'm going to need you to take a strong chill pill, ma'am, because this ain't where you want to go with it. But I asked her where all of her energy was coming from. And not only that, I said, man, where was this energy when Zach pushed a pregnant Karen down at the restaurant? What's the reason you weren't in my DMs then, sis? Fatima went with that aggressive energy that stated you're not going to do anything to me, as she approached Gary outside of his job. Karen was doing nothing more than enjoying a meal at a restaurant. Doing nothing but trying to have a moment of peace, minding her own business. When Zach shows up, he brings chaos and confusion with him. And on top of that, he decided to put his hands on her. Her response to me was, well, with Zach, it wasn't that hard of a push. I said, what? Does it really matter? Then I asked a question that called her not to respond to me anymore. I said, sis, are you mad that a man put his hands on a woman, or are you upset that a man put his hands on Fatima? Because which one is it? Now, I could understand why certain people are upset about Fatima being pushed, but let's not act like Fatima didn't show up at Gary's job with the rah-rah. And I think that's the part that, like, I don't understand. When I have been discussing this, like I said, with a handful of people, it has been very interesting to see how people feel about this. We have been seeing Fatima constantly push her weight around on the show for consecutive seasons, whether it's walking into people's homes unannounced or even being granted into someone's home and acting as if she owns it. We have seen countless of times, even going back to the situation with Hayden. Was Hayden being a menace? Absolutely. Was Hayden being a pain in the behind? He absolutely was. But when I think about that moment that Hayden was beat up, Fatima had hit him multiple times with brass knuckles. And then the moment he retaliated and put hands on her, she was like, "You stupid MF, that's what I was waiting for you to do." And I'm like, what? What are we talking about right now? Like, it's not landing for me. So it's like, if Fatima is gonna be gangster, then write her as gangster. Fatima does too many impulsive things for her to be considered gangster in my book. When I think about Madam, I wish Tyler Perry would have never made Madam her cousin. Because not that she has to emulate Madam, but if you come from that type of family and you've been raised in it and it's engraved in you, there are certain things that you do. There are certain ways that you move. There are certain, perspectives and perceptions that you have, and you're not impulsive. And that's the one thing I do love about the character of Madam. Now she got her own little mental problems going on, okay? But she is a thinker. And I love that about her character. And when I think about Fatima does things, then it's like, oh, I'm going to call Madam. Oh, I got to get Madam involved in this. We have seen Madam come through for Fatima on several occasions. Not that we've seen Madam on screen, but we know that it's her boys. It's the people who work for her. It's the gangs that she runs. And at this point in time, I'm just tired of it. I'm just tired of it. I want Fatima to put her nose in the book, because since you fell in law school, okay? I want Fatima to pull herself out of these situations that consistently bring her down, because it's not a good look at this point. I think that I'm going to just go with the people that I have personally spoken with. It's almost as if it doesn't even matter what Fatima does. It doesn't matter what Fatima says. One girl was like, me and Madam going to ride for Fatima regardless. I said, baby, you not riding for her. What are you talking about? And sometimes it gets a little scary, because I'm like, it is evident that some people cannot separate reality from fallacy. They cannot separate the actual person and the role. Okay. But, like I said, going back to the original question, I do not believe that anything was taken too far. I believe that when you approach someone with a certain energy, you just have to be ready for whatever you receive. And it was incredibly dumb for Fatima to put herself in that situation, to not have any type of protection on her, and then to go back home, which we will see in the upcoming episode on the season finale, that she tells Zach what happens and then expects him not to respond with wanting to retaliate, with wanting to put his hands on Gary. Stop doing things. Then when your man gets riled up, you want to try to confine that. No. And I'm going to just say this to my brothers who listening. I don't care how much you love that woman. I don't care what sis is doing for you. If you are constantly with a woman who is putting your freedom at risk, you need to think twice. Okay? You might want to, bow out gracefully until she can get to a place of maturity where she's not operating out of impulsiveness. I'm going to just say that, because it ain't just about, don't get me wrong. I know Sisters is a woman-based show, and the majority of the fans are women, and the majority of the people who listen to me are women. However, I do know that there are a handful of men who listen to my reviews, and I want to, give y'all some props and give y'all some wisdom as well. It doesn't matter how fine a woman is, how amazing she makes you feel sexually, or just even as a man. When you have to constantly question or put your, weigh the pros and cons of the possibility of your freedom being taken. And you look at a character like Zach, who has sole custody of his son, who is a special needs child, and you about to go out here and do something to someone because he put his hands on your woman. But if your woman would have stayed at home or would have stayed at work and not included herself in someone else's business, then you wouldn't be in this predicament in the first place. So sometimes you have to rid yourself of the variable that's continuing to put you in these crazy situations. And y'all know I don't like taking up for Zach. But in this case, I gotta, that's where I am. That's where I am. Because Fatima says, I'm gonna need you to sit all the way down somewhere. I'm gonna need you to sit all the way down somewhere. Did I feel bad when she got pushed? Hell no. I did not. I didn't. And if that makes me a bad person, it don't. But no, I didn't feel bad about it. I didn't feel bad. I didn't. I really didn't have any feelings about it. I just felt like, so we still on this. We still on, Big Bad Wolf Fatima. I just want to see more for the character because I feel like that character has skated her way season after season and really has had no storyline. And I'm just tired of it at this point. And I know it's going to be some people that's going to say, well, Fatima, I don't care about Fatima right now. We're on Sisters. And if Fatima is going to be a character on Sisters, then the writers need to give her something to do outside of Zachary Taylor and Andy Barnes. I've been waiting for a long time. Still ain't got it. Sis said she wanted to be a lawyer to help her family. I can't tell. Can you? No. And I'm gonna just leave it at that because I didn't expect this video to be 17 minutes. But I just really wanted to discuss that and just get different perspectives about it. Because I did talk to about 5 women who were basically on the side of it was taking things too far. She should have never gotten pushed. The guy should have never put his hands on her. And then there were, like I said, maybe about 7 people on the other side that I spoke to that felt like Fatima got exactly what she deserved. And I'm more so leaning with them, not saying she deserved it, but when you put something out, expect to get the same thing. And in this case, that's what she got. So I want to thank you guys for listening. Until next time, I will holler at y'all later, and y'all be safe out there. When.